All right, good morning. And today we're going to talk about how to listen, or rather listening, in Project G8 so that you can be able to learn a few things. So the art of listening is about finding out what the speaker thinks about something, okay? Finding out what the speaker is thinking about, what the speaker is trying to picture, or rather what the speaker is trying to portray. Hearing and listening are not the same. You can hear music, the sound of rainfall, the sound of food being prepared in the kitchen. But listening, on the other hand, requires attention. It requires comprehension of the message that is being relayed, and it also requires a recollection of what's been said. So here you're doing a lot of things all at once in order to be able to get the right picture that the speaker is giving you. Listening is a valuable skill on both a personal and a professional level. If you're a good listener, you'll be able to solve problems. You'll be able to understand what the other person is speaking. You'll be able to know if the other person is telling you the truth or not. You'll be able to know how genuine the other person wants it and all that. So you require more than just being able to take in the words into your head for you to be able to listen. And to some extent, you can even listen when someone is not speaking. Okay, and this is how you do it. Let's say you are talking, or maybe you are dating someone, and they get to a point they go quiet, maybe after an argument or something. That is already something. If they are doing something they say if they're doing the opposite of what they say they will do, there is a problem there. So that is how hard you need to listen, even in business. If people said by a certain date I'm going to be ready, and that date arrives and they haven't done anything, whether they haven't done what they say they will do, it means you're listening to something, you're listening very deep. So you have to be very careful with that. All right, now effective listening. So you make eye contact when you're talking with someone. That is why most meetings you can listen to people, you can talk to people. If you meet, if you have the ability to be able to build your business when you're meeting with them, make sure you make eye contact. When you're doing general trainings or bigger trainings, make sure you're having eye contact with them. Maintaining eye contact with the speaker, let them know that you have their undivided attention, okay? So it's usually something very powerful. That way it makes someone prepared to talk to you without fear, without distraction. Number two, ask follow-up questions, okay? So if you're talking to someone and they're not understanding properly, or maybe if someone is talking to you and you're not understanding properly what they are saying, or maybe you haven't gotten a certain concept clearly, you are allowed to ask them to stop and then ask them a short question. You can tell them, I have a question there before you go on, and then you ask a question and then they will clarify. By doing that, clarifying questions gives you more information so that you have a clear picture of what is happening. Sometimes I usually talk to people and I ask them, what do you want to achieve in 5 years' time? They start telling me I have a son or I have a child. I want them to get a plot. I want them to be able to finish school. I'm listening there. You see, when someone is telling me that I have a son, I want them to get a plot. For them, they've already identified that is a need they want. And they have already identified it is a problem. They're not sure. Some of them are usually not sure if they're going to achieve that piece of land. So when you hear someone telling you, I want, I am working on, I wish, I have been preparing, those are very powerful words that they tell you directly what someone wants, okay? So if you're in the network marketing field and you hear someone telling you, I want it to be this way, you have to listen very carefully because that is where the answer is. There are small things that people mention that talk about when you're listening to them that will give you all the answers about these people. So make sure you do that. Then don't interrupt. When you interrupt, it communicates that you don't care about what's being said. An interruption can also make it appear as if you're interested in a subject matter and you're looking for a moment to interject. Okay, so interruption could happen especially when there is a disagreement. Let's use this example so that you can understand which type of interruption I'm talking about. Assuming the two of you were dating someone and then this person wants to break up with you and they've never told you, maybe they have been quiet for a year and they moved on, or maybe 6 months and they moved on, they're even dating, they're even planning for things over there. But you are here getting prepared because of one reason or the other. And then you tell them now that I'm ready and they don't want it anymore. Usually there are a lot of interruptions that usually happens in that conversation. So that is what we mean by interruption, okay? Or maybe let's say you're someone who is high in terms of the social status. Maybe let's say you're one of the top earners in the business and someone is talking to you and you're looking into your phone, you're not listening, it's not usually a good picture. For me, I usually prefer when I'm talking to someone and it's face by face. If I have to answer a message, I tell them I must respond to this. Okay, just give me a minute. So I usually explain myself to people very well. And most people who interact with me, they understand the kind of, sometimes they can get busy, sometimes there are a lot of things and all that. Sometimes they need to research about something before I respond back to them and all that. So a good listener does not allow or does not let someone does not interrupt the person who is speaking. So you try to avoid that. Let them speak, let them finish, and then they will tell you, now I'm done, or rather, now I think I've said everything. Now I'm ready to listen. Okay, so it's very powerful. Now, benefits of good listening. There are a number of benefits of good listening. So good listeners are more likable. People who listen with focus are often perceived as more likable. You'll hear people telling you the goodness with you, or one thing I like about you, you listen very well. You don't forget, or rather, once you listen, it sticks in your mind and things like that. Number two, good listeners build strong relationships. They show interest, they ask open-ended questions, and they acknowledge what is being said. This helps reduce misunderstanding and build even stronger relationships and stronger bonds. Okay, so if you're very good at listening and learning how to use that to help someone, learning how to use whatever you've listened, or rather whatever knowledge you've been able to capture to help someone, people will know how genuine your intentions are. So that is something you need to be able to be careful with. Okay, and then good listeners have a clear understanding of the topics being discussed. Okay, so if you've been listening to someone, let's say someone is having a problem with like recently there was someone who sent me a message, and this boy he had quite some good questions, and the first question he was telling me is that he was advised by people from his past life, that is in high school level and all that, that the best way to succeed is when you become a teacher of English. Okay, so many people are telling him that that is how you solve your family's problems and all that. That is how you get to the top of the pinnacle of success in the society. So he happened to find one of my books. Okay, there's one book that I've written, and he happened to find it, and he was going through it, and this book changed him. Okay, it changed him completely, that he decided to become a different person. I think I still have the charts here. So this one was on 30th May 2022, and he says, "Hello, my name is so and so. I'm a student at this university. I want to say thank you so much for changing my mind and the way of looking at things. I got your book, Secret Schools Never Teach. I went through it just once, and I couldn't believe how my mind was changing every second. I was moving from one word to another. You're absolutely right about school. I had a feeling of this, but how to justify it was a problem. I just need a simple advice from you." So that is how this person contacted me. So there, I listened that this is someone who is at a point in life where he's waking up. Okay, he's in a point in life where he's discovering things that he's not supposed to discover, or he's discovering things he's supposed to have known at a certain time in life, and it's overwhelming for him. He's so surprised. He doesn't understand what is happening. Okay, so I told him that book, it's a very good book, and then I asked him what advice. So on 31st May, he sent me this. I'm a first year student at the moment, and I'm taking regular degree, Bachelor of Education Art, that is English literature. However, this I am doing because of advice I was given from older people and some of my teachers in high school. They told me if I really want to help my family by getting somewhere to put in my hand soon, I should take education since it's a sure bet. But now I know that all this is a trap, because a teacher, especially of English, is not going to pull my family from poverty, putting in the knowledge I got from your book. My passion is also in music, of which I really want to do. However, the main thing now, I want to start building wealth mindset, start a plan to make money flow into my pocket and save my family from impoverishment. What can you advise me to do, sir? I'm standing on the road, but beginning to walk is a problem. Okay. Now, if you listen to this guy, you find out that he's fighting a lot of things. So this was my advice to him. Good morning. So I responded on 1st June. So good morning, so and so. I hear you and I see where you're coming from. So the first advice, go find about 50 to 100 teachers who have been teaching English. and see if you love or if you like or love their way of living, or if you love their achievements. Also, find people who graduated about 1 to 6 years before you. He can even extend this search to 10 years or 15 years, people who graduated by that time, within that time, okay? And see if they are doing okay in the teaching field. Find if you'd admire the life they have, and there you will find your answers. Also, find out what teachers are going through in the current society. And as of this economic moment, you will have your answers there. Starting with the lecturers who are teaching you, who are actually teachers who are teaching you, you'll realize we will have a problem for someone like you who intends to uplift our whole family. You'll have to know that a lot of responsibilities lie in your shoulder, and a lot about your future, your life, and your future happiness and your family depends on the decisions you're making right now. And then I told him I wish I had a chance to discover all this at a younger age, like you are finding out. I'd be very far. So you see there, I listened to this guy, and it took me a whole day to think of what to tell him. So that is how effective listening, that is how deep effective listening goes to. And I can see here, I sent him 2 photos. I told him a few things there, and I can see there, he said, "Thank you very much, sir. I am satisfied with this fine elaboration answer. I want to make a plan for now." And then he switched off my disappearing messages, meaning he wants to retain whatever chats that we are having here. And then I responded, you can expand your search, make it even 300 or 500 teachers, okay? And he responded, "I have 2 teachers already whom I have looked closely into their lives. I'm still carrying on the research before I round up everything." That is now the results of listening to someone. Those are the results of listening to someone. And the moment people listen to like that, and you're able to give them the right answers, you find out that it's going to become very easy for them to build more trust with you. So that is what this thing is all about. Okay. So good listeners build very strong relationships. So you can see this guy already believes in what I'm telling him. He's ready to listen, he's ready to ask more questions, and he's ready to follow through. Why? Because I have improved each and every day. I keep on improving my listening skills. Okay. So good listeners have a clear understanding of the topics being discussed. I think you've already seen that from that little elaboration that I've read for you. And then the ability to solve problems. Good listeners are always find a quick and safest way to solve some pressing challenges and problems if given a chance to think over it. So usually for me, I take time to think over something, and I really think a lot. I think about so many things all at once. One day I'll teach you about thinking, how to think about something, how to bring up a solution, and all that. I will also teach you how to deal with fear and all that, okay? So that you can understand these things. So for me, I take time to think about things. If you ask me a question that I think is challenging, I take time to think about it. And then eventually I come up with an answer, because I compare everything and anything that goes around that, okay? All right, now types of listening. We have 4 types of listening. The first listening is deep listening. So deep listening occurs when you are committed to understanding the speaker's perspective. It involves paying attention to both verbal and nonverbal cues, such as words being used, the speaker's body language, and their tone, how they are speaking. This type of listening helps build trust and rapport, and it helps others feel comfortable in expressing their thoughts and opinions. So this can happen, especially when you're having a video presentation, or maybe you're having a Zoom meeting, you're seeing the other person, okay? So that is what usually happens. And there's some people who are so good that they can even listen even when they're not seeing you. Like your use of words gives them an understanding of what is happening. Like for me, it's very easy for me to know when someone is ignoring me through a chat or through a call. It's very easy. Why? Because I've done that so many times that I've been able to learn the pattern that people would use, or rather the pattern that people would employ if they want to ignore you, okay? Or rather if maybe they're trying to run away from you, so I know, okay? The second type of listening is called full listening. So full listening involves paying close and careful attention to what the speaker is conveying. It often involves the use of active listening techniques, such as paraphrasing what's being said to the person you're speaking with, to ensure you understand their messaging, okay? Full listening is useful in classrooms when someone is instructing you on how to complete a task, and when discussing work projects with your supervisor, when you're designing a plan, okay, that you need to follow. Maybe you're having a small project that you want to work on within a certain period of time, and someone has to tell you the steps that you need to follow. So that is Now active listening, okay? The third one is critical listening. Critical listening involves using systematic reasoning and careful thought to analyze a speaker's message and separate facts from opinions. So critical listening is often useful in institutions when speakers may have a certain agenda or goal, such as watching political debates, or when a salesperson is pitching a product or a service, on when sometimes you're trying to date someone. So there are things that you want them to say so that you can listen to those things so that you can know what to say. Okay, so it goes that way. It goes to that level. So that is critical listening. And then the last one, or rather the fourth one, I think the fourth type of listening is called therapeutical listening. So therapeutical listening, this means you are allowing a friend or a colleague or a family member to discuss their problems with you. It involves emphasizing and applying supportive nonverbal cues, such as nodding your head, maintaining eye contact, in addition to emphasizing what the user is experiencing, encouragement, telling them you understand, telling them you're following through, telling them you'll always be there to listen, or rather you're there to listen and all that, and telling them you're going to find a solution. So this here is you someone who is listening to, always talking to you, who is pouring out to you. You're there to support them, to listen. I'm also very good at this, and it has actually helped me learn so many things about people. So it's something that is very, very powerful. Now, things to note. Becoming a better listener takes practice, but if you succeed, you'll find yourself learning new and interesting things about the people you're communicating with. You'll also find that you are better at picking up subtle messages, clues that others might miss, okay? So there is power in that, in listening. And you see, in interacting with people or in building relationships with people, you need to learn how to listen. You can, I don't think you're going to be good in attracting the people that you want to attract if you don't let yourself learn how to be a good listener. So there is power in that, and you have to practice that every single day. Each and every time you're listening, I'm listening to someone, this is what I usually ask myself: did I get what this person wanted me to get? And sometimes I ask them, you have said like this and this and this and this. Is that what you want? Is that how it is? And they say yes or no, okay? Number two, I ask myself, if I were this person in this situation, what would I want to hear? Okay, so I put myself in that situation. Number three, I ask myself, if I were in this situation, would I be ready to hear the reality, or would I be ready to hear lies so that I can be comfortable and okay? So sometimes I usually ask people, do you want me to tell you the truth 100%? Are you ready for the truth? Because sometimes the truth is not easy for a lot of people, especially when they're pouring out to you, they're talking to you and they want you to help them. Sometimes people they have a problem with decisions. I'll also talk about making decisions, okay? And there's so many, making a decision is very easy. There are so many things that you look at. And then there is, if you've reached a point where you do not know if the decision you're making is right or if it is wrong, there is a way to prove it, okay? So there are so many things that I want to teach everyone. There's so many things that I want to teach you so that you can learn this the right way, okay? Another thing to note, a number of specific strategies can be applied to listening, but they all share one key element: being present and attentive during the conversation and respectful of those involved. This ability can help you be a more effective partner, parent, student, co-worker, business person, and all that, okay? So I'm very sure most of us, we have lost a lot of things because we did not listen properly. We did not listen carefully. So it's something that I'm still learning every day, something I'm always perfecting. I'm not going to say that I'm perfect at listening, but I'll tell you that I'm good at it. I'm quite good at it. And it's because of that that I've been able to find a solution on how to help so many people. So for those of us who are going to use this knowledge to build a network marketing business, or who are going to use this knowledge to build their own life, these are very powerful philosophies. They will help you, okay? If you listen good enough, you'll be able to know when someone is changing. You will always feel it. Maybe it might take you a second listening, a third listening, a fourth listening, for you to be able to understand clearly that someone has totally changed. But I want to tell you that if you're good at that, you're going to be able to solve a lot of problems. So up to this level, I want to say thank you so much for listening to this presentation. I hope you're going to share it. There is something you need. If you need to get more of our materials, you'll be able to like this, subscribe, and follow through all our channels so that you can be able to have that big knowledge to help you become someone successful in the next future. Remember, the goal is to be able to build on a continuous source of income, okay? based on the business, based on everything that I've been talking about. The goal is to be able to build on that continuous daily source of residual income that you'll be getting from day in, day out. And that is why I have committed myself into giving you this kind of knowledge to help you become as successful as possible. We have so many topics to work on, and I'm happy that we are making strides. So up to that level, I'm your coach, Saosinde John. Let's meet at the top. Thank you so much.